Hello out there. We're on the air. Happy hump day, folks. Happy hump day. Are we live? Looks like we are. We're only streaming to one site today. Everything seems to be down. Don't know why. I don't know why nothing's working. Same as yesterday. Anyways, we got lots to talk about. We got a busy day here, so I can't waste any time. We got a pretty quiet chat today. I don't know. I guess the guy takes a week off and everybody disappears. Kind of up to snuff, I guess. Killer, good morning. Timber Crasher, morning, fellas. Good to see you. Well, let's start with some mempool stuff before we get too far into things here. Looks like the blockchain, the network, the Bitcoin network is absolutely buzzing right now. Absolutely buzzing. Look at this. We got a 6.4, 6.39 upwards, looking like 30 blocks ahead. That's pretty big. That's pretty big. I know we talked about the hash rate yesterday and how much it's gone up, but it's a pretty strong indicator there. And if you're looking to transact on, why is this turning orange right now? Never seen that before. Looks like a candy apple, one of those candy apple suckers, you know, green, orange. That's what it reminds me of. But pretty cheap. Transacting on layer 1 this morning, 2 sats per VByte. And it's been a while since the last block was mined, 21 minutes ago. So as we know, the blocks come in on average every 10 minutes, but sometimes they're a little bit late. When the miners are having a hard time solving that equation, they come in a little bit late. Just like some people in the chat this morning. Hey, Jason's here. Good morning, Jason. It is great to see you. I don't know if you were here yesterday or not. I don't remember seeing you. Could be wrong. But we're back in the studio that is this small, tiny little office here. So we got some stuff to talk about. Let me open up. I actually didn't send any emails to myself with links this morning. So we're just going to wing it. We're just going to wing it today. Obviously, the big news is actually, you know what? Let's start with that. Let's see what GameStop is doing this morning. After we had some pretty big news yesterday. GameStop stock price. Where do people even look at stocks? This is how far out of the game I am right now. Okay, 27. So let's bring this up here. Oh, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Whoops. This is going to be just another day back here. Hopefully these shows are going to be a little bit more consistent going forward, but I really don't know. There's a lot of things up in the air at the moment. So it's going to be another transition show today, nice and slow. But yesterday was probably one of the better shows we had in a while. So anyways, look at this. So it's up a little bit, up 20%. I guess that's a little bit in GameStop land anyways. So yesterday around this time, we were at 23 and we're looking at about 28. It looks like it peaked at 28.16 this morning. I usually, I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with GameStop yet. I've been thinking about it a little bit. And kind of my thoughts. Actually, we'll put this on the back burner for a sec. Let's bring that down. Looks like we got some more people showing up here, which is good. We had a tough start there. Tough start to the morning. GTSY. Good to see you. Happy hump day from Drew. Happy hump day to you as well, my friend. I got something cool to introduce you guys to today because the Zap stream's down. Usually it's If you want to get a hump in for the day, you send a zap. I guess we got Arnie's wallet here still. Arnie was here for a brief moment this morning, but he has since left. But actually, you know what? Let's get to that right now before we go any further. Where is that? This is something I came across last week. I think I might have shared it on YouTube, but I thought this was pretty cool. It's called, oh, of course, I'm not going to be signed in. Huh. Why would I be? I have a couple different accounts, obviously, on YouTube between Maple Bitcoin and mine and the backup channel here. And usually it's stupid because the YouTube has like switch account. There's a switch account button. And then right underneath that is the sign out button. And so occasionally I press sign out, and that just wreaks absolute havoc on my life because I have to go in, find all my passwords for all the different accounts. And that's exactly what's happening right now. I'm signed out of that account. So we'll make do here because I don't know what my password is. But I'll send it to a different one here. I'll resend it. Okay, yesterday. No. Yep, there we go. There it is. That was easier than I thought it was going to be. Okay. Let's check in with the chat here and see what's going on, then we'll open that up. All right, Ian, good morning, man. Good to see you. Good morning, Jor, Arnie, and gang. Cleaner Machine is in the house. Look at that. And Jason says, I need a car deal hookup in Airdrie. Cleaner Machine, can you help Jason with that? Needs a car detail hookup. Hopefully one that accepts Bitcoin. Could you imagine the day when no matter what you need done, there's going to be somebody willing to accept Bitcoin for that? It's kind of hard to think about that because it's, again, so unlike everything right now. You probably have to look pretty hard to find somebody in your area who accepts Bitcoin, period. Never mind for every single service that you need. But just imagine that. Play that out in your head right now of what that would look like for you and for Bitcoin. Because at that time, like, I think that's going to be the one of the bigger catalysts over these next couple of years is when people decide that they actually want to be paid in Bitcoin, not just, put $50 a month in or whatever most people do for a DCA, but they actually want to be paid in Bitcoin. And so we're going to have a bunch of employees going to their job, I think, over these next couple of years and saying, hey, is there any chance we could get paid in Bitcoin? Obviously, some of the bigger ones, it's going to be harder, but like small businesses and stuff, I think that this is going to be a real thing. So when people want Bitcoin, that's the employee, but also businesses, when they decide that, when they recognize the fact that one currency is going to continue to be devalued forever and one currency is going to continue to go up forever, they're obviously going to choose the one that's going to go up forever, which is Bitcoin. And so you're going to have employees and you're going to have business owners who both want to accept Bitcoin. They're not going to want dollars anymore. And when that happens, somebody who's in Bitcoin today in 2025, think about the purchasing power that you're going to have with that Bitcoin when that happens. Because like we talked about yesterday with the green lights, with the demand for Bitcoin, that's the number that we really need to pay attention to. And every single employee wanting Bitcoin, every single business owner wanting Bitcoin, that is going to drive up the demand, the top line of that equation. And as that top number continues to go up, so does the purchasing power of Bitcoin, because there's more people after that same amount of fixed sats. And the crazy thing too, that I didn't even consider in this, after watching a clip from Michael Saylor yesterday, where he talked about burning his keys when he dies, instead of giving it to a foundation or a project or charity, whatever. He said he's gonna burn his keys. I don't know if I have the clip here or not, but you can find it yourself. So that's actually going to have an impact on the bottom line too, because the top number is going to go up over time, the demand, the supply is fixed. But as more and more things like that happen, where the Saylors, the Max Kaisers all come out and say that they're going to start burning their keys, that's actually going to be a bigger driver of it too. So as that whole thing plays out, just think about the value and the purchasing power that you're going to have with your sats. Like we're going to get to a point, and I kind of already, this is what the whole living in the future community was based on. We're going to get to a point where one sat equals $1, and that's not going to be like the top. There is no top in Bitcoin. But when we get there, that's kind of how I view sats today. One sat being $1. Obviously it's not, and you can exchange dollars for more. But yeah, I mean, just picture a world where everything that you need done, whether it's your grass cut, your haircut, your car detailed, your oil change, your tires, your everything, new deck. You're going to be able to pay for those things in Bitcoin because people are going to want Bitcoin. And you might get a discount, you might not, but it doesn't matter. When we get to that point, those sats are going to be worth exponentially more in terms of what you're going to be able to buy with those sats. And it's coming. Like there's really no way that doesn't happen. That's the thing. Adam, Lori, sweating, smiling together. Good morning. Adam's been killing it on his YouTube channel lately. I got to go in there and leave some comments and get the algorithms boosted a bit. But I've been seeing Adam doing some live workouts. So if you're in the market for, I don't think Adam would consider himself a personal trainer, but they go through exercise and workouts that, the average person can do. And I think it's a great channel for anybody who's looking to kind of ease their way into the workout world, getting into shape, getting fit. Check out Sweating and Smiling Together. Morning, Mark. Nos Nuggets. Shamuli. How do you say that? I don't think it's Shamuli sounds right. That's a great name. Hey, James Bond in the chat this morning. A joy. Joy's back. We're kind of back. We're halfway back. Tommy D, good morning. Locks guy, Daddy-O. Look at this. What a chat this morning. What a chat. What a crew. Tom. Hey, Tom, I saw a comment on one of the videos this morning I wanted to mention that you left. And the comment, what was it now? Something about the top. What was it? Let me bring it up here. Ooh, the Maple Bitcoin channel's buzzing. Good to see. We had a hot start and then things slowed down a little bit, but we're picking up steam again. It's good. I have really high hopes for the Maple Bitcoin channel. Oh, here's the comment. Okay, so the video that I posted actually yesterday is why Bitcoin is going up forever. And I talked about the green lights around the world. And every time a green light turns on, when somebody understands Bitcoin, that's an addition to the top line, the demand aspect of it. And my theory is that those green lights will never shut off. And so when you think about it that way, Tom left a comment here saying we will not see the top in our lifetimes. But when you understand that top line will be going up forever, the demand, there's always going to be new people, new companies, new municipalities, new AIs. That top number is going to go up forever. There's nothing that's going to stop that. And that top line, the people who are driving that demand are going to continue to produce value to the world, and they're going to want Bitcoin. So there's no top. Because when you're thinking top, you're thinking fiat terms. But what's going to happen is every single person in the world is going to be fighting for that bottom line. And they're going to keep doing things and getting better and adding more value to accrue more of that bottom line supply. And so there's not going to be a top. It's that bottom number. It's about 19.8 million today, minus the lost coins, minus the keys that will be burned or have been burned. Everything on top, all that demand, all that productivity is going to be divided by that fixed bottom line. And when that bottom line is fixed, there's no top on the purchasing power. It's literally going to go up forever. There's not going to be a top. There's going to be, you know, tops of different cycles while we're still measuring things in fiat. But in the long term, there is no top on this thing. Everything will continuously be repriced by that bottom line. Everything will be divided by that bottom line. So there's no top. It's not going to be in our lifetime. It's not going to be ever. There is going to be no top for Bitcoin. Let me give you an example here. Let me take a drink of coffee first. Let me give you an example here. So we have our supply schedule, right? And we talked about yesterday how the supply is pretty much irrelevant at this point, fairly. It's the demand aspect that we need to be focused on for the most part. So let's fast forward here. Let's fast forward to the year 2132. And I want you to right now, the rewards. Okay, so type in, what is that? I mean, it's okay. Where do we start with this? So let's use this as an example here. So it's 2024 today. Let me bring this up. Okay, so 2024, you can see that the block reward, so every 10 minutes, this is what the Bitcoin network shoots out in terms of new Bitcoin, the new supply coming onto the market. And this, so that's 3.125 Bitcoin. That's worth about what? That's worth about 277,000 US dollars today. So if you were lucky enough to mine that block, which was Antpool here, they got about $277,000 worth of today's purchasing power. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's what the block reward gets today. The 3.125 Bitcoin is worth 277,000. So when we go down in 100 years from now, actually, let's go with exactly 100 years. So I don't even know what this is. This is less than 9 sats, I think. Oh, shutting the power off on me here. When they turn the power off on you, then you're long Bitcoin. But what would this be? So this would be, oh shit, 10 million, 1 million, 100,000, 10,000, 1,000, 100, 1. So less than 1 sat. In 100 years from now, I think they're going to be mining for, that's what I got. Anyways, it's less than a penny. It's less than a penny. So they're going to be mining for 1 sat in 100 years from now, every 10 minutes, compared to 3.125 Bitcoin. And keep in mind that 3.125 Bitcoin is worth 277,000 in purchasing power today. So if we say, okay, that same 1 sat is going to be worth the same, probably, if there's actually, you know, on the same trend, that's how you have to think about this stuff. That when you're looking at these, this is a really good way to kind of project what the future price or the future purchasing power of Bitcoin is going to be. So again, if we say that the block reward today is worth about 250,000 US dollars for the block reward in purchasing power, then in 100 years from now, it looks like that's going to be 1 sat worth of purchasing power. You know, again, we're not thinking in fiat terms here. We're talking about how much that's going to be able to buy 1 sat worth. And it makes sense. It makes sense in my head. I know it's a really hard thing to kind of to get your head into there, but that's where we're going to. And when you say, well, what's the price of that? It won't matter what the price of Bitcoin is at that time. The only thing that's going to matter is how much you're going to be able to buy with your sats. And in 100 years from now, obviously, we're going to be able to buy quite a bit. It's crazy. So then that doesn't mean it's going to stop there. That's just, I wouldn't say that's the beginning, but it kind of is, because my theory is that Bitcoin really begins once the supply is locked, once everything's done. That's when Bitcoin really begins. Which is nuts. But I mean, it makes sense when you really zoom out. Like I know as humans here, we like to think day to day. We just kind of see what's in front of us for the most part. But you look at anything and how long it's taken to get to where it is. We're 16 years into this thing, and this is going to be 120 years into this thing. That's a very small amount of time in the big scheme of things. So yes, it sounds crazy when you look at it from today's perspective, but that's how things work. Oh, I missed a couple here. Patty, good morning. Patty P with a star. I like that. Good morning, Patty. Flo Forte. I recognize that name. Good morning. Good to see you. Daddy-O like has been smashed, my man. All right, so that's where I was getting with that, actually, because the Zap streams are down. Arnie's wallet is up. We got a couple Zaps here, I see. We got 888 sats. A fat Zap from Daniel says green flash from Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. And we got 188 sats, anonymous Zap, to Arnie's wallet. But I want to show you guys something here. And you can try this out today if you want to. And if you don't want to, that's okay too. But I came across this. So let me share this here. Let me share this in the chat and see what you guys do with that. But I thought this was so interesting. Let me bring it up. So you can essentially go to this website. It's called Zap Me a Coffee, I think. Yes, Zap Me a Coffee. So you can put in the amount that you want, how many coffees you want to buy that person. So for somebody who's adding value on the internet, like this is perfect, because nostr is a great way to do it, but not everybody has nostr. So this is I think a perfect kind of bridge if you want to be, instead of like accepting PayPal donations or what is it, Zelle? I don't know. However people usually accept donations online. It's obviously fully KYC. There's a lot of fees attached to it. We've gone through the reasons why that is a bullshit way to do it. Nostr is perfect. But again, not everybody has nostr. So you could actually go into this this website here, zapmeacoffee.com. You can put in your NPub, and then you can use this link to accept donations, I guess, or in this case, a coffee. So you can zap Jor a coffee. If you go to that website, you put in your NPub, and it gives you a link. So you can share that with anybody with a Lightning wallet. They don't have to have nostr, and they can leave you a tip or buy you a coffee in this case. And it's cool because it says about $3 for one coffee. You can do 3 coffees for $9 or however many you want. 2, 6, which is really, I mean, it's awesome. As somebody who, you know, somebody who does this, the kind of stuff that I do, these kind of tools are amazing. But it's not just for that type of thing. That's what I want you to keep in mind here. Because we kind of talked about this yesterday, but we're at the point now where you could work from home for any person on this planet, and they can now pay you in Bitcoin. They can now send you value from anywhere in the world, and you don't have to KYC that. So if I wanted to just, let's say that, you know, I did a different show every day. And if I was really thinking through this properly, what I would do is I would have a link on my show here, or whatever you're doing. And I would just create a new NPub and just keep spinning up new NPubs and saying here, okay, here today, here's the link for it. You can zap that. It's not connected to me at all. You don't have to put in any of your information. and you can exchange value in a fully private non-KYC way. And I'm just using this as an example for me today, but just picture the world in that case where if you want to leave a tip for somebody, if somebody helped you with whatever you need help with online, you can actually do that, something like this, and it's fully non-KYC value going around the world. And when you say things like that, when you hear things like that, I know it's easy to kind of just gloss over that, but that's a really big thing, because you couldn't do that before. If somebody in the UK wanted to send me a tip 5 years ago, both sides of that equation are fully KYC'd. I wouldn't be able to receive that money without putting my identity into something. And as the internet continues to evolve and kind of change the whole landscape of the economy here, without Bitcoin, that would have been a very scary path. Right? Because in the old days, you could do jobs, you could do work for other people, and you can get paid in cash. That was the same kind of thing. If you're exchanging cash, you're not KYCing either side of that equation, but you're very limited in terms of only being able to do that in a limited way in your limited local market. So that worked great. But now we have the worldwide economy where everybody's working online. We're using the internet to connect and add value to the world. And without something like this, without Bitcoin, every single transaction that you would ever have would be tracked like a nightmare, because you wouldn't be able to receive any income from anybody without KYCing yourself, without putting all of your identification into that platform, like PayPal or a bank account or whatever it is. So not only would you be fully KYC'd, but you would also, it didn't work to send micropayments like this. Like, it would be very hard for somebody to send me $3 worth of a payment, because YouTube's going to take some of that. The bank's going to take some of that. The payment processor is going to take some of that. It just doesn't make much sense. $3 maybe, but not 3 cents. Right? So things like that, things like this are a big part of the future here. And it's going to allow us to fully decentralize the internet, the world, and the economy. So perfect example, somebody just sent 50 sats to Arnie's wallet here, and that it says it's about 6 cents. You can't send 6 cents without Bitcoin. Lightning is the only way that you can do that. You cannot send 6 cents in the old system. So that's pretty cool. I wanted to share that. That's called Zap Me a Coffee. So I don't know if there's any way where we can actually see if somebody used that or not. How would I know that? It would go to my wallet here, I think. Let's check it out. Should go to my wallet of Satoshi. I was going to try it just to see, but I felt like that was, oh, look at that. Somebody sent one in. We got a couple of fad zaps to report here. Wow, I don't know where these are coming from. This one must be from Nostr, but it's from Letha. 8,888 sats. Said, I'm going to miss the live. Have a happy hump day from Letha. Wow. Thank you, Letha. I don't think you're watching, but if you are later, thank you. And somebody did send a coffee. Look at that, Duncan. So it showed up to this wallet here. It said, enjoy your coffee, my friend, from Duncan. 3,441 sats, about $3. My man. Thank you, Duncan. Well, it's good to see that works. I'll leave that one open too, just in case there's any more coffees being zapped around here. How cool is that, though? That's it's gonna change everything. Stuff like this is gonna change everything, and things like this are being built every single day, and they're not going to slow down. They're just not, because there's no way to stop it at this point. What do we got here? Tom says, CT mining scammer legit. Is it good for decentralization? Is it good for the network? What's CT mining? I've never heard of that before. What is CT mining? Should I look that up? CT mining. I don't know what that is. CT pool? I don't know. Tom, if you're still in the chat, let me know. Let me know what CT mining is. Okay, sorry. Donnie, good morning. Timber Crusher says, I met a Bitcoiner out in the wild for the first time ever yesterday. Smart young man, was 19, fervently hated the Federal Reserve and is running his own business. Wow, what a legend. 19 years old, good for him. That's the thing that, I mean, I I really don't think it would be possible for me to be any more bullish on where we are right now. Between the macro aspect, between the demand going up, between the people, the shift happening here from like, the baby boomers holding all the wealth and real estate and gold and the stock market, that flowing into the younger generation of millennials, Gen X, and what would that be? What's a 19-year-old even? Gen Y? No. What is it? What's the really young generation? Gen Z? I don't know. Either way, that crop of humans right now, they don't like banks. They don't like government. They don't trust the media. They're not going to hold gold. They're not going to hold real estate. They're going to want Bitcoin. And as that wealth transfers from the baby boomers to that group of people, that's going to drive the shit out of the demand for Bitcoin. Like, it's all of these things. We can't even begin to imagine how big each one of these things are going to be. I mean, yesterday, GameStop, one of the most well-known public companies on the planet with a couple $1 billion worth of cash, announced that they're now able to buy Bitcoin. It's just every single thing is lining up. Everywhere you look, there's good news for Bitcoin. And I think we went through about 4 years of like everything bad that could have happened to Bitcoin did happen. They were locking people up. They had Operation Choke Point 2.0. Everything. It was just, and I think going through that, we kind of understood that no matter what, everything is good for Bitcoin. Everything. And now we're kind of at the point now where we're seeing good things happen and the price drops. But that's how it always works. There's always a lag. There's always a delay. And I think that what's building up right now, we're going to see the biggest explosion in Bitcoin's purchasing power in history. I really believe that. There's really no way around it at this point. I don't know when that's going to happen. I'm quite confident it's going to happen this year. But either way, it's just like a spring that's being coiled. And once that lets go, it's just going to absolutely explode. And it's going to catch a lot of people off guard. And it's going to bring a whole new crop of people into Bitcoin. A lot of them will fall off. But it's the ones that stick around and continue those green lights, driving the demand for Bitcoin and driving the purchasing power of Bitcoin. Tom says, if I see Bitcoin in 2035 terms, mining at a small loss seems like a good idea, like buying at more than today's price, but far lower than tomorrow's. Is my logic way off here? No, it's really not. And that's a really good question, actually, Tom. Let's dive into that one a little bit here. Because yesterday I posted a video about the BitAxe, right? And I think Tom actually bought one yesterday. But I posted a video about the BitAxe yesterday, and I had a couple questions about it. So I figured I would just spend a couple minutes here going through that. Where was that question now? So the question, let me bring up the video. So the question was, do you earn sats while mining with those BitAxes? Actually, let's just hold on. Let's just take a quick step back here. Let's go through this question. We'll talk about it, and we'll have some clarity for people. So kind of going back to this, Tom said, If I see Bitcoin in 2035 terms, mining at a small loss seems like a good idea. Like buying it more than today's price, but far lower than tomorrow's. Is my logic way off there? No, that's absolutely right. And I think that if you're thinking about that, you're definitely on the right track. So basically, yeah, you have to think about this. Whenever you're getting something like a bit axe here, any miner actually, there's two components to it, right? There's your costs, which are the energy, whatever energy it takes to run that Bitcoin miner. That's your costs. That's your outflows. The revenue side of things is if you hit a block or if you're part of a pool. So when you set one of these miners up, you have two options basically. You can either pool mine or you can solo mine. Pool mining essentially means you're taking your energy, whatever you're contributing there with your bitaxe, you're pointing that towards a pool. And so there's a bunch of these pools within Bitcoin mining. And so they have energy and electricity coming, or hash power essentially, coming from all these different miners. And so they figure out how much they have, what their average return is in terms of them actually hitting a block per month. And they pay that out based on how much your allocation is of that. So let's say that the total pool has 1,000 exahash total power going into it. And I'm contributing 1% of that from my miner. Their payouts based on their historical averages, I'm going to get 1% of that every month, regardless of how many blocks they hit. Obviously, that's going to be moving over time, but I'm going to get 1% of their payouts every month. So that's pool mine. That's pretty much a guaranteed way to earn sats. And the nice thing about that is you can actually earn those sats KYC free, which means your identity is not attached to those sats. So basically what Tom's saying here is that even though your electricity costs are going to outweigh your return, so let's say I'm paying $5 a month in energy costs and I'm getting 50 sats back per month, that I'm operating that at a loss in today's terms. So I'm paying $5 a month to run this miner, but I'm making 50 cents worth of Bitcoin or 50 sats worth. So I'm losing there. But Tom's saying, does it make sense to do that even though you're losing right now because of what those sats are going to be worth in the future? Does it make sense to do that? And I think it does. And probably what I'm going to do in the next year here is probably get a couple more of these miners and actually hook those up to pools. Both the ones I have right now are running solo. And solo is different. Basically, solo, your bitaxe or your miner is the one competing for the block reward. So you're either getting a block reward, 3.125 Bitcoin, or you're getting 0. So I could technically run one of these bitaxes for 10 years, pay my energy costs every month, and make nothing off of that. But there's a chance. There's a chance that I hit the block reward, which is about $300,000 worth of purchasing power today. Plus, into the future, I know what that 3 Bitcoin is going to be worth. So that's the risk that I'm taking right now. I'm mining mine with the solo miner, or as a solo miner, basically an all or nothing there. It's like a lottery ticket. So that was part of it. It's kind of like a lottery ticket for me. It helps. I wanted to learn a little bit about mining because I think that I'm going to be heating my house here in a few years with Bitcoin mining. So that was kind of like my first step into it. Plus, every bitaxe, every home miner is decentralizing the Bitcoin network, which is a very positive thing. So that's kind of your two options there. But yes, absolutely, Tom. If you're thinking that those 50 sats in the future will be worth more than the $5 you pay today, which I do, then yes, it makes sense. And it's a really good way to do it. If you're accumulating that and you're compounding those sats over time, those are all going to be non-KYC sats. So probably what I'm going to do in the next, like I said, a year, I'm going to get a couple more of these and I'm going to run those, learn how to point that hash towards a pool and actually start earning some recurring sats every month from doing that. But honestly, like, I don't know, it's a tough one for me. Because this is, I don't know. I would love to hit that. That's why I don't do the pool right now, is because I want a chance to win that 3 Bitcoin. I can find other ways to earn 50 sats a day right now. I mean, you can earn more than that on an app like Ember. every day right now. But I'm in the mix right now for the 3.125 Bitcoin lottery. And if I was pool mining, I wouldn't be part of that. My hat wouldn't be in the ring there. I would have no chance to win that. So I think your logic makes sense there. But you know, everybody's different. Everybody has different theories on it. And so that's just kind of mine. Ricky Bobby, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We have $52,000 in the chat this morning. And we have a comment here from Jason saying, I'd like to get Scott from Block Rewards to come to my work and give his pitch on Bitcoin and getting compensated in it. Well, I think that, you know, kind of my thoughts on that would be just do it, right? Just do it. That's how change happens in the world. Your employer is never going to just decide that they're going to do it one day, Jason. It's going to take a little bit. So, I mean, even if you reached out to your employer and said, like, you know, here's the deal. This is what I want. This is the guy. He's going to come and talk. If you're okay with it, he'll probably say no. But in 6 months from now, when Bitcoin is, you know, 5x or 10x what it is today, there's going to be a lot more hype around it. And then you might be able to say, okay, well, how about now? You just have to start somewhere and expect a couple no's right off the bat from anything that you're doing in Bitcoin. But over time, if you're persistent with it, you know, that's how change happens. It doesn't just happen by accident. So whether that's, you know, reaching out to your employer, reaching out to Scott, whatever that is, but there has to be the first step taken there. Hey, look at this, Parker. Parker's in the chat. Let me find, hey, look at this. We got a fat zap here from, to Arnie's wallet. 2,295 sats. And it says, congrats. I don't know what congrats for, but we'll take it. Let me bring up Parker's channel here. Where are we? Subscribed. We are subscribed to Parker's channel already. That's good. So here's Parker. He's in the chat. This is his YouTube channel. He's been growing pretty good. He's been posting very consistently. He's got 129 subscribers already. And he's been posting a video every day. Great videos too. They're about 3, 4, 5 minutes long. And just talking about different things. It's good. That's exactly what you have to do when you're starting something, is just do it small, but do it consistently. And that's exactly what Parker's doing here. It might evolve. It probably will evolve into something else, maybe some longer form stuff. But for now, this is what he can do, and he's doing it, and very admirable. So go over there. I'll put Parker's, I'll put his thing in the chat here for you. And hopefully we get that number pumped up there. Great guy. I had the pleasure to talk with Parker about a month ago now. And he's going to do some big things. I got a feeling. And any way that we can help him here within the community, it's what we want to do. What the hell? Sorry about that. I tried muting my microphone there, but I guess I shut off my camera instead. So you got the noise still there. And that was probably right into the mic. I'm sorry. I tried to mute that. That's why I went off there. Whoops. Anybody, hopefully nobody's trying to fall asleep to the show right now. The wife won't be happy, or husband, whoever is listening to this. Daniel, look at that. We got Daniel in the chat. I'm a little bit behind here, but thank you, Daniel, for the fat zap this morning on hump day. And there's Duncan right there. Morning, Jor. Hope you're well. Bitcoin has no top because fiat has no bottom. 100%. And Duncan, thank you for the coffee this morning. That was very generous of you. That was cool. We got to test her out, and it's good. We didn't get skunked. You never want to share something and get skunked. So I appreciate you, Duncan. GameStop going to short squeeze eventually. Let's check on GameStop. How we doing? How are we doing? 29, it's going up. Let's talk about GameStop here for a sec. But before that, reminder, smash the like, zap the show, whatever you got to do if you want to. Everything in this community, everything in Bitcoin, everything should be voluntary, and it is. So GameStop, I'm going to give you my kind of opinion on it here. So GameStop announced yesterday that they're going to be buying some Bitcoin, or not that they are going to, but their investment policy within their corporation, GameStop, is now able to buy Bitcoin. That was what was announced yesterday. And it's kind of funny to me because we've been kind of tracking GameStop a little bit through the last couple months. And it seems to me the kind of my main takeaway from this, I'm going to talk about like the main takeaway. I'm going to talk about what I think of it, if I'm going to be buying it, what this means in the future. But first of all, what I've noticed here is that if you're paying attention at all, you can kind of see things before they happen, right? Because Ryan Cohen, who's the CEO of GameStop, he posted a picture with Michael Saylor about a month ago now, I think, maybe a couple weeks ago. And there's been a couple different instances like this where there's been a picture posted of like a meeting that's happened, and then a couple of weeks later or a month later, the official announcement comes out. So if you're paying attention, you could have put two and two things together there and said, okay, the CEO of GameStop is meeting with Michael Saylor here. There's probably something there. And sure enough, a couple weeks later, GameStop announces that they are now able to buy Bitcoin. They have about $4 or $5 billion worth of cash that I think they're going to be putting into Bitcoin kind of as a starting point. And they're going to go from there. So my thoughts on it here. Obviously, in the last 24 hours, we've seen the price go up. Where is this here? Sorry, in the last 5 days, it's increased 25%. So it's up today, obviously, after this announcement. It seems like the markets react more logically than the Bitcoin market in terms of the fiat price. But anyways, so it's up. And the one mistake that I've made in the past when I'm looking at stocks and stuff like that is trying to time things. And you never want to be buying like the day after something is announced. Like today, it's up 25%. Don't be buying today. We're in the next couple of days, we're probably going to see it crash down back to where it was, about $24, $25. This is my guess. This is what has happened every other time I've tried to do something like this. It always shoots up when there's news. And then a couple of days later, there's a sell-off and it kind of flatlines for a couple of weeks or a month. And then eventually, once people really understand what's happening there, that's when it goes back up, or there's another announcement or whatever. So I'm probably going to wait a couple days, maybe on Friday, I'll buy some GameStop, but I'm not going to buy much of it. And I'll tell you why I'm not going to buy much of it. Because to me, you look at a company like MicroStrategy, they have everything in place. They have more than 500,000 Bitcoin right now. I think that they will have more Bitcoin than any other company, any other country, any other entity in human history. They're going to be the ones who hold the Bitcoin. MicroStrategy, sorry. I keep saying MicroStrategy. Apologies. I know there's people that get all butthurt when I say MicroStrategy, but Strategy, 500,000 Bitcoin, nobody's going to catch them. They have all their ducks in place. They know where they're going. They have the team. They have the vision. They've done it. They've been doing this for a few years now. They know what works, what doesn't work. Strategy is going to be the one. If you're looking at Strategy versus any other company, including GameStop, Strategy is going to outperform all of them substantially, exponentially. And the reason for that, because if you think about it, obviously what I just talked about there, they've kind of been doing this. They have a reputation. They have a very clear vision of where they're going to. But the other part of that too, that we have to understand here, is that when GameStop starts buying Bitcoin, whether they buy $1 billion, $2 billion, $5 billion worth, that's good for MicroStrategy. So yes, it's good for GameStop, their shareholders, the company itself. They're going to have a much longer journey here in life. But every public company who starts buying Bitcoin and adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet, that improves MicroStrategy too. Right? Going back to what we talked about yesterday with the green lights, the demand, the top line of Bitcoin. Every company that adds Bitcoin to the balance sheet is another green light. That top number goes up more than the average person. It drives up that top line higher than the average person. And every time that happens, that's a win for MicroStrategy. So all of these different companies who are going to start adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet is going to increase in a roundabout way the value of MicroStrategy, because the demand for Bitcoin is going up. The value of Bitcoin is going to go up. MicroStrategy's entire business is based on that, their balance sheet, and that's going to drive up that as well. So I might get some GameStop shares just to be, in on the action. I'm going to wait a couple of days for it to kind of subside a bit here, but all my chips are on MicroStrategy because of that. Because every single company, it doesn't matter who it is, GameStop, Microsoft, Apple, all of those companies adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet boosts up MicroStrategy. And they have 500,000 Bitcoin. Nobody is ever going to catch them. The US is going to try. The US government thinks they can get to 1 million Bitcoin, but I think they're delusional. So that's kind of my thoughts on the buying aspect of it. But the one thing I would say about that though, and this is why I would buy GameStop versus like Semler Scientific, even though Semler has a ton of Bitcoin, Metaplanet has a ton of Bitcoin. This is why I would choose GameStop over them, because of the brand, because we've already kind of been through this. I know the investment that's went into GameStop already. It's a recognizable name. Everybody knows GameStop who's in the investment world. And so I think that strategy itself, people have had a hard time understanding what they're doing there. Nobody recognized the name MicroStrategy. So I think they kind of just wrote it off initially. But everybody knows GameStop. And so I think there's going to be a lot more demand for GameStop shares than there was for strategy when this kind of stuff was announced. So that's why I do think that, you got to keep a close eye on the premium though, like the net asset value. GameStop is a little bit different, I think, because they have brick and mortar stores, but MicroStrategy still has some actual operations as well. So I think they're very similar. I think that GameStop will, I think it's going to turn into something pretty good. But again, if I'm looking at GameStop versus strategy, I think that strategy is going to be the one to bet on here because of those reasons. And I think at some point today, or if not Friday, we're going to do a full analysis on GameStop for Maple Bitcoin. So I didn't want to spend too much time talking about it. I want to save some talking points for then. But yeah, interesting to say the least. Flow Forward says you can have your paycheck sent to Strike and deposit in Bitcoin today. That is absolutely true. You can pay bills with Strike. You can do the same with Bitcoin Well. If you're in Canada, you can actually use Bitcoin Well to pay your bills, just like you'd set up like a payee in your online banking. You can do the same with Bitcoin Well. So if you're looking to get into a Bitcoin standard, start living on a Bitcoin standard, that's an easy first step. You can just you can pay less from your bank. You can hold more in Bitcoin, and you can actually use things like Bitcoin Well and Strike if you're in the US. Actually, Bitcoin Well is in the US too. But you can use things like that to actually pay bills without going through the banking system. And just start with one. Just start making one payment every month in Bitcoin. Just try it out. And then go to 2. And then go to 3. You should never move too fast in Bitcoin. Everything should be taken very slowly. All right. Asset stewardship. Not taking into account fees though. Fees will be in those blocks mined hundreds of years from now. I'm not sure what that means. Not taking into account fees though. Fees will be in those blocks mined 100 years from now. Yeah, I know that. I know there's going to be fees there. But you also have to think about this. Like I think that this is the big disconnect here. Let me take this banner off. But if you want a Bitcoin Well account, you can go to bitcoinwell.com/Jor. Yeah, I mean, this is the disconnect, I think, for a lot of people. They're like, well, yeah, the subsidy is going to be gone, but there's going to be a lot of fees and it's going to be very expensive to transact on layer one, which it is. No doubt about that. But you have to consider the fact that it's going to be expensive for the people who weren't in Bitcoin at this point. Right? So if the subsidy there is 1 sat every 10 minutes, let's just say keep it clean. 1 sat every 10 minutes is going to be mined. Think about what the value of those sats are going to be. So yes, it's going to be expensive in sats or in dollars, but think about what it's going to cost to send Bitcoin at that time. If 1 sat, like we said there, if 1 sat has the purchasing power of $250,000, nobody's going to pay that to send Bitcoin. Nobody's going to pay $250,000 worth of purchasing power to send Bitcoin. So the subsidy is going to be 1 sat, but the fees might equal 1 sat total from that whole block. Right? I know that you're thinking in like, if somebody's going to be sending a Bitcoin transaction, it's going to cost them like 1,000 sats. No, because if that comes true, like we talked about there, if that block reward every 10 minutes is 1 sat and the purchasing power of that 1 sat is $277,000 in today's value, nobody's going to pay more than that to send Bitcoin. It'll be like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a sat to move Bitcoin, to send a transaction. And all of those will accumulate into, let's say, like 1.5 sats for the total blocks of the subsidy and the fees, which will eventually just move into the fees. But you're thinking in terms of what sats are worth today, not in terms of what those sats are going to be worth in the future. So yes, it will be incredibly expensive to transact on layer one, but it's not like it's going to cost 1,000 sats, because that would be $2 million to send a transaction. Nobody's going to pay that in purchasing power, not in fiat price, but in purchasing power. Nobody's going to pay that. So it's going to be a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a sat. And that's when I say, like, when you're thinking through this, when you're thinking about how valuable these sats are in the future and how important it is to protect those sats, that's where your mind needs to be in a world like that in the future, because it's coming. You know, whether I think it is or not, it's coming. Whether you think it is or not, it is. It's just, it's how it's designed. Fees are going to be insane. Yes, but you have to think about them differently. You have to think about them in, like, if the whole world's fighting over a subsidy of 1 sat, then yeah, it's a lot to comprehend. It's a lot to think through. And I'm probably wrong. I might be overstating that a little bit, or I might be understating. It's 100 years away. We have no idea what the world's going to look like at that point. But we do know they're going to be incredibly scarce and incredibly valuable at that point. Flowforce says, I use FutureBit for my miners. I might get one of those too. They actually look pretty nice. By the way, I'll put my for anybody who's interested in getting some home miners, some bit access here, I'll put my link in the at the top of the show notes again today. I'll do that right now before I forget. Action cures fear. I love it. Fear doesn't stop death, it stops life. Yes. Actually, I kind of plan to rotate these signs. Where is it? Right here. I kind of plan to rotate those signs over time, but that one's just kind of stuck because I've got a lot of comments on it. It resonated with folks. Little show and tell here. Okay, so the one that's behind this one, the one we used to have up, which kind of goes hand in hand with our green light theory that we talked about yesterday, which is the flippening. Can we see that? I can't even see the screen. The flippening. Why is this so? There we go. Sorry. So you can see trust and time there. And this chart starts at about 2008 when Bitcoin came out. So you can see Bitcoin's in silver there. Gold is the fiat. I should have reversed those probably. Actually, no. I think silver is actually more valuable than gold. But anyways, so as time goes on here, that the starting point there is about 2008. You can see the trust in Bitcoin is increasing. The trust in our dollar is decreasing. And as time goes on, those are just going to continue going down those paths. There's nothing that's going to happen, especially to fiat. We can be certain about that. That's going to change that equation there. The trust in fiat will continuously go down forever. And I don't know where we would be right now. We haven't crossed yet. We haven't come close to crossing it, but we will. I'd say probably within the next decade, we'll flip between the more people trust Bitcoin than trust fiat. Might happen sooner than that. But that was the original chart we had behind me there, but I couldn't really see it, so I changed it. So now we got this. Action cures fear. But also this, look at this. This is from the Bitcoin Painter. We got show and tell here today. Recognize that guy? Arnie boy. He's even got a little crown on his head there. And nice little note on the back. There's the block height that it was painted. And Arnie, King Arnie. Pretty cool. And finally, our last piece of show and tell for today. Look at this beauty. Oh my gosh. That is something special. I put it on for about a second and I was like, I don't want to wreck this thing. This is look at this. This is just such a well-made hat. Made in the USA. That is badass. Probably well, I got the Tiger Woods thing up there, which is hard to compete with, but probably one of my favorite things in the office here. And that was sent from one of the people in the community here, from Josh. So a huge shout out to Josh. I've received a couple different things in the mail from friends of the show, but that one was pretty special. I don't think that those hats are very cheap, and I can't even buy it here in Canada. So Josh exported it or imported it in here to the Canadian border and sent it to me. So pretty cool. It kind of matches my hat today with the gold. So that was show and tell for today. Hey, Bodie. Good morning, friends. Doing some mining research in the Sunshine State. Wow, Bodie. Love that. Bodie's on to something here, folks. Watch out for Bodie. Watch out for Bodie. Bitcoin Buddha, good morning. We got Noah in the chat. I am on live. Good morning, Noah. Is nostr on? No, it's not. I can't fund my Zapstream account. I tried numerous times on the show yesterday, and I tried this morning as well, and none of it's working. It just won't. I'm thinking that Kieran's Lightning wallet is down because the payments just keep failing there. So it's kind of unfortunate, but we got Arnie's wallet here, and we have our a new feature where you can zap Jor a coffee instead. I'm going to share this instead. Well, as long as the Zap streams are down. So Noah, you'll like this. I don't know if you're watching it originally here, but you can now, there's a website now called zapmeacoffee.com where you can connect your NPub and people can zap you a coffee. and say something nice in there too, which Duncan did. Duncan was the very first person to zap a coffee with a nice little message in there. So that's the new version of Zap Stream today. I can't get any streams out of nostr. Been watching on YouTube lately. Yeah, it's down. I haven't heard too much about it. It would probably work if I had if I could fund it, but I think Kieran's. What the hell's going on here? There we go. Arnie hair on my face. Giving him too many kisses this morning, I guess. Oh, look at this. Breaking. Utah government signed into law protection to self-custody. Good news. Good news. All right. Man, we got a lot of things to get through here. Okay, well, on that note, let's give away some Bitcoin. M. Vincent says, my boss is spending $250K for a spa franchise, and I have a family member who borrowed $100K to open up a small gym. I feel like 1 to 3 Bitcoin will be a better option in 5 to 10 years. 100%. 100%. And that's what I want to talk about today. I'm going to mention that on our video with Maple Bitcoin today. And because it's right. You have to consider the hurdle rate in Bitcoin. I don't think a spa is going to return 60% a year. I don't think a small gym is going to return 60% a year. So what I would do personally, but this is tough because the bank probably wouldn't give you $250K to buy Bitcoin. So, I mean, I get it. I do. But, whether it's GameStop looking at projects, at locations and stuff like that, they're now competing against 60% once they add Bitcoin to their balance sheet. And you have to consider the fact that every business on the planet is going to be thinking like this in the short term, where they're going to say, do we invest in this project or do we just hold Bitcoin? Because this thing's been returning about 50, 60, 70% a year. And I don't know if that project is going to be returning that. So think of it as like allocating. That's what all businesses do. They allocate whatever money they take in, they allocate that to different projects, different funds, different ideas. And when you're allocating, you have to consider which is going to have the highest return. And for a lot of businesses in the future here, in the near future, especially, holding Bitcoin is just going to be a better option for them. Less stress too. Just put some Bitcoin in the balance sheet. You can always use that in the future. But yeah, I mean, your head's in the right spot there. Jay says, getting so impatient for what? Bitcoin? You got to remember, we're buyers. We're not sellers. And as a buyer, the price being lower means I'm earning more every day in real dollars or real currency, real wealth. Noah says, my son was all about GameStop, changed his gamer controller regularly. I don't think I've ever been into a GameStop in real life. Look at this, cleaner machine doing some business on the channel here. I also have pickup and drop off service so your wife can stay at work. Love that. Love that. Steven says, do you have solar energy? No, not enough. There's not enough solar here where I am. Not enough sunshine. Working on it. Jay says, I interviewed at an energy company. I'd be stupid not to ask about their Bitcoin exposure, right? Got an offer. Yeah, I would say so. I wouldn't say you'd be stupid, but I think it's a really good opportunity to introduce it into the equation there and just let them know that you're into Bitcoin. And every energy company especially is going to be getting into Bitcoin here. So I think that'd be, you might turn into like the Bitcoiner of the company. And who knows what that leads to. Oh, I just saw a big green light here. We got a flash. We got a flash that just happened. Look at that. We got another coffee here from Craig. Craig, my man. Craig zapped a coffee. 3,464 sats. And he said, get well soon, Mom, from Craig. Thank you, Craig. That very nice of you. Very thoughtful. Yeah, mom's probably should be paying a little closer attention. This is usually when they do the morning rounds at the hospital, where the doctors, the nurses, the therapists, the dietary people all collude and figure out the plan for the day. It's happening right now. So I'll probably have to cut this off right away for that reason, just to get up to speed with my mama. But it's good. I think she had a good day yesterday. So I'm going to be heading back into the city here shortly. But I'll just enjoy these streams while we're here. GameStop up, Bitcoin down, getting weird out here. Isn't that the truth? Oh my God. But eventually, that's why I really want to drive home the whole green light theory here. I might trademark that, the green light theory. And that might be, I saw a comment here about we were right about Bitcoin hoodies. I think the next hoodie from that collection, the We Are Right About Bitcoin hoodies, is going to be a green light one. I just love that theory. It makes so much sense. And I actually talked to a couple different people who I very much respect their opinions of, and they love that analogy. Even got a comment back from Jeff Booth yesterday because I tagged him in the nostr post saying, this theory was inspired by Jeff Booth talking about the first principles of Bitcoin and how we should be thinking about it. And he sent a reply back. Really cool. Actually made my day. I'll try to bring it up here if I remember. But yeah, that's the whole thing. You're getting weird. And but when you understand the green light theory, then it doesn't matter. There's no time frame on anything. It's just going to happen eventually. Hey, Parker. Thanks, Jor. Oh, no problem, buddy. No problem. Sachi says, think I got a shake forward from Parker at one point. Name looks familiar. Really? That's kind of cool. That would be on ShakePay where you can buy things for other people. What's it called? Shake forward? That's crazy, if true. Lou says, you going to do this every morning? I hope so. Like a show? I mean, yeah, we've been doing this show every day for a year and a half now. I've just been busy. Not busy. I guess busy is a good way to put it, but been with my mom. She's been not doing so well. But yeah, I'm going to be doing this not forever, but for the foreseeable future. Ocean, there you go. This is what you want to be using there. I mean, there's a good example. If you need, I don't want to put you on the spot here, Flow Fort, but we basically got a guy here. I would probably start with, this is just from my experience and my my thoughts on it, but I would probably start with like a BitAxe. I keep going the wrong way here. I'd probably start with some of these. These are super easy to set up. I've never used a future bit myself. I don't think they'd be much harder, but these are a very low risk way to get into Bitcoin mining. And so what I'm probably going to do next is get something like a future bit as my next evolution here and start mining with that. But yeah, I mean, this is the beauty of like the living in the future community. You're going to have experts in all these different areas who are going to be able to help you. And you're going to meet these people and you're going to see that, Flow Fort here is using a future bit, using Ocean. And you just say, hey, do you got time this week? We can set up a quick half-hour call. I have some questions on it. And then you can just send him sats for it. Like, isn't that a beautiful world? And this is just kind of limited to Bitcoin stuff right now, but think about how that plays out in the future where you have different people, again, kind of going back to what we were talking about at the start, you have different people for everything in your life who will accept Bitcoin. That's kind of the goal here. And the faster you can get to that, the faster you can leave the old system. Bunny says, just tuned in, not sure how I feel about GameStop. I mean, what would be the downside of anything? Like, what's the negatives about GameStop buying Bitcoin? Everybody's going to have Bitcoin eventually. It's just when. DXY, says, good morning, Joe. Arnie, friends, Zapstream and Fountain out of service today. Yes, they are. Very annoying, but reality here. But speaking of that, we have our buy Zap Me a Coffee available there in the chat, where you can go in there like Craig and Duncan have done today. And you can kind of use that as your Zap alternative today, or you can use the QR code. And somebody just sent in 888 sats, fat Zap to Arnie's wallet. So that was an anonymous one. Thank you. Arnie says thank you. If that guy ever shows up, we'll try to get him. I'll try to lure him in today. He's not, he's too smart though. He doesn't fall for lures. Laugh Pad, good morning. Good to see you, man. Great to see you. I totally agree about the fees being very small, but very costly. Yeah, I mean, you just have to play it out. You can't think about things as if they are today. You have to look at the big picture there and how it's all going to be impacted by it. It's not going to be, I know we're used to seeing like a transaction costing 500 sats today, but you have to consider the fact that those 500 sats are going to be worth exponentially, like unfathom of, that's a hard word. Unfathom. I'm not trying it again. Incredibly large, those 500 sats. So nobody's going to pay 500 sats just to send a Bitcoin transaction when those are worth so much more, right? You got to factor in everything there, not just like how things are today. DXY says, add Metaplanet to that list. Highest performing stock globally in the last 12 months. Yeah, but even Metaplanet, they're not going to outperform Strategy. Metaplanet has done very well because that's essentially the only company that Japan citizens can invest in, I think. But that'll fizzle out too. And I think they have a decent amount of Bitcoin, but it's nothing. It's literally nothing compared to MicroStrategy. How much Bitcoin? I think it's like, I'm going to say 5,000. 3,000. 3,350 Bitcoins as of March 25th, 2025. I think they bought 150 there a day. So yesterday, MicroStrategy announced that they bought 6,000 Bitcoin, one purchase. Metaplanet has 3,300 Bitcoin. So, I mean, if you agree with me where Bitcoin's going here, then, strategy is the play, because whoever holds the most Bitcoin is the winner. And that's going to be MicroStrategy. Take the power back says nice. Looks like we're talking about the hat there. Good job, Josh. Yes, that's right. Josh, I don't think he's watching here today, but yeah, that was very, very, very nice of Josh to do that. Very nice. Duncan says, any news on the We Are Right About Bitcoin hoodies? Yes, they should be done hopefully in the next couple of weeks. He's going to be sending some from the US. He's going to send the Canadian ones to me first. So depending on where you are, they should be in the next couple of weeks, I think. We got the first batch ordered. There was actually 27 orders. I was expecting like 5 or 6. So I'm sure those will increase, once I actually have one of the hoodies on and I can actually promote it on the show. But yeah. Jason says the bank wouldn't give that British guy $2,500 for a motorbike. Yeah. I mean, that's what you got to keep in mind here is money in the bank isn't your money. One of many value adds around Bitcoin is you actually get to own it yourself. Cleaning Machine says, no rush, Joe. I'm excited about my hoodie. Did you get my sats and when will you ship? I sent you 888 sats, which we just got here. So thank you, Cleaning Machine. Very much appreciated. And I don't have them yet. As soon as I get them, especially the Canadian ones, I'll be shipping those out right away. I think the US ones, you'll probably receive them before the Canadian ones, but we're doing our best. Noah says, Jornal, I'm on the move again. Flat sold. Brexit 2.0 in motion. Noah, that's big news. So where to now? I guess you don't really need to say on live air, but congrats, Noah. That's awesome. That is awesome. I'm sure your Bitcoin stash will increase a little bit after that. The flat being sold. How rare is 0.2 Bitcoin, 2 million sats in the future? I mean, if you've been watching the show here, I think you can kind of put your own projection into that. I mean, depends what the future is. In a year from now, will it be worth more? Yes. 2 million sats, you won't be able to retire off it or anything. But think about a decade out. Think about 100 years out. Think about 200 years out. That's how you need to be thinking. I know it's hard to do because we've been trained to live in such a high time preference world where you get something and you spend it because it doesn't hold anything. But now we got Bitcoin. We got the best battery that has ever existed before, where you can store that wealth, and you got to protect that wealth. And it's pretty. Is it going to be rare? Yeah, it's going to be incredibly rare in the future. But you just got to figure out what the future is. It's like people say, how many Bitcoin do I need to retire? Well, what's your time frame on it? How long are you going to live? Actually, on that note, I saw somebody, it might have been Dorsey, it might have been somebody else saying that the first human who will live to 1,000 has already been born. That's crazy. But anyways, I got this comment up here. Mika, good morning. Good to see you in the chat. I don't see you in many lives. So you must be slowing down a little bit with everything you had going on there. Speaking of that, Mika, I know I kind of ran into a few personal issues in the last couple of weeks, and I didn't get a chance to share that on nostr. But Mika has a really beautiful spot in Costa Rica, and she's looking at selling it, and she's looking at renting it out in the meantime. But if you're in the market, if you're looking to spend some of your Bitcoin, I'm sure Mika would be very happy. If you got too many Bitcoin and you want a spot in Costa Rica from a Bitcoiner who's obviously maintained it properly, that's a nice thing about Bitcoin. I'm going to start renting out this house probably at some point, and I'm only going to rent to Bitcoiners. I'm not going to put it on Airbnb. I'm not going to do it on Verbo, whatever it is. I'm only going to rent to Bitcoiners because I know the mindset. I know how Bitcoiners are. There's an inherent trust level there with Bitcoiners. But if you're heading to Costa Rica, if you're thinking about going to Costa Rica, if you want to buy a piece of property in Costa Rica, reach out to me. I'll put you in touch with Mika, and yeah, they're moving back here, so they're selling their place in Costa Rica. They're renting it out in the meantime. But if you're any interest in that, if you got too many Bitcoin, you want to spend some of it, I'm sure you'd get a pretty good deal on that. Unfathomable. That's what I was thinking of. Unfathomable. Something like that. You knew what I was saying, right? I want to use that word all the time, but it's a hard word. It's a hard word. Hey, look at this. We got BitBilly. Hey, everyone on the Utopia at sea right now. Not even a cruise will stop some time with Jor. That's awesome. That is awesome. BitBilly. Whereabouts? What ocean? What was the last place you saw? What was the last landmass that you saw? I don't know if you're still watching or not, but that's pretty cool. Hopefully you're not on the Titanic. Hopefully there's no evil plots to take out our guy BitBilly here. I actually meant to text you yesterday, BitBilly. I forgot to though. Just wanted to see how you've been making out with things. I know we had a couple weeks there of really high intense Bitcoin training, but whenever you're back, let's chat. Well, we'll get to a few of the next steps here in the process. Noah. Oh, Noah. Thanks, Jor. You've helped me more than you realize. Well, thank you. I love hearing stuff like that. It's why we do it. That's why we do it. Jimmy keeps running. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't buy today. You never want to buy, when something's just been announced. Give it a couple days, let it fizzle out. I'll probably be buying some GameStop here, maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. It just doesn't really make sense to buy at the top. It's going to go down. I think. I could be wrong. Of course, this isn't investment advice. But yeah, I would wait. Historically, that's what has always happened. BitBilly's in the Bahamas. It's a day at sea. That's pretty cool. I've never been on a cruise myself, but I want to. I didn't think that I wanted to before, but I've changed my mind a little bit on it. I think I want to go for a cruise. Definitely not a Disney cruise, though. It just blows my mind how much information has come out about Disney. Hopefully, it's not a Disney cruise that BitBilly's on. That would be awkward. But it just blows my mind how much has come out about Disney in the last couple of years in terms of like all the pedophilia there, all the rapists who are in Mickey Mouse costumes, and people are still just like going there with their kids. Like, not only there's a risk there because you have pedophiles walking around in Mickey Mouse costumes. There's been thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of kids go missing. I think, anyways, it's a pretty hush hush, but people are aware of it. There's a bunch of things that came out in the news last year about Disney, and people are still just like okay taking their kids there and okay giving Disney some of their money. It's fucking wild to me. Same as Hollywood. Everybody knows that Hollywood is full of pedophiles and the most evil, sick people on the planet, and yet they still, go to the theater. They buy, a movie. It's nuts. It's just like people don't really connect things. They just like think that they hear something and then they just like kind of forget about it, move on with their life. I heard it, but I didn't really comprehend it. It's nuts to me. And, I don't know how that ever changes, honestly. Shitty to say, but I think a lot of people, just have to phase out here. And hopefully some of these baby boomers and stuff who are, completely oblivious, the liberals in Canada here, hopefully they don't live to be 1,000. We don't need them to be around forever. That's for sure. Definitely not a Disney cruise. All right. That's good. I appreciate all you do off going down some slides. That's crazy to me that there's freaking slides on cruise ships. I've never been on one, but I've seen how big they are. I've never been able to comprehend how big they are. But yeah, that's nuts. Noah says there's a Bitcoin Airbnb. Forget the name of it. I think it's called AirBTC. I think that sounds right. AirBTC. Adam says they're going to zap you from ZBD, but they are now requiring KYC. Are they? I didn't know that. I mean, you kind of have to connect your Google account to ZBD and like Ember. So it's not really full KYC unless it's different in the US. But yeah, that's really annoying. Buck 52. My wife heard me stamp seating yesterday. What are you doing? Hopefully she didn't have any chores for you to be doing, because she probably thought you were doing that. Hanging a picture, hanging a shelf. Nope. Just doing some stamp seating. Bangarang says, I only watch the Hallmark Channel and Gunsmoke. There you go. I'm a big fan of the old Westerns too. I'm thinking that's what Gunsmoke is. Okay, let's give away some Bitcoin, wrap up the show here today. I don't think we have any unclaimed sats today. We gave those away yesterday. I got to keep an eye on the time here. What am I doing? Okay, so these we got some sats courtesy of our friends at the Bitcoin Well. The Bitcoin Well signups have slowed down significantly, so I'm thinking that everybody watches the show already has an account. But if you don't, consider getting an account at Bitcoin Well. They are, in my opinion, the best place to buy Bitcoin in North America, especially in Canada. They have features that nobody else has. You can actually swap Bitcoin from on-chain to Lightning and vice versa for free. You can pay bills. You can sell Bitcoin there, which I don't recommend because you should be selling your Bitcoin to other individuals, not exchanges. You can do a recurring buy, which I do. It goes straight to your Lightning wallet where it adds up and then you send it to your layer 1. Plus the wishing well here. So I would suggest, if you haven't already, just get yourself an account, buy a couple $100 worth of Bitcoin that you were going to buy anyways, and just see what your experience is like on here. I absolutely love Bitcoin. Well, they're the only place I buy Bitcoin now, has been for the last year, and very, very happy customer. They don't pay me anything, but they give sats to the community here. So get your Lightning wallets open, and the first person to scan this is going to get some sats. $210 sats to be exact. So hopefully that's, my phone just died here with my Lightning wallet on it, which is unfortunate, but I did see a zap that came in, a couple zaps actually. And I think one was from Dale. Hopefully that's correct. But if not, whatever, Dale can get some props. So those are courtesy of Bitcoin Well. Big shout out to them. They are a supporter of the channel here. They give sats to the community here every day. So I believe that if you have to listen to a small ad, that you should be rewarded for that. So you can go to bitcoinwell.com/Jor and you can get 5 free tosses into the well. Chance at 5 million sats. Highly unlikely, but there's a chance. But anyways, Dale, I think it was Dale, sent 1,000 sats, 1,100 sats. And sorry, Dale, my phone died right after you sent that. So I didn't get a chance to read the message. I think it was about my mom. So I just want to say thank you, Dale, for the zap for Arnie's wallet. So with that, I'll try to lure our guy in here. I'll start giving my winding down voice. With that, another episode concludes. But before we go here, I don't know what the rest of my week's going to look like here. I'm really hoping to do a couple more shows. I'm hoping to do the Maple Bitcoin show on Friday. So if you're not yet, we kind of had a slow start. We started the Maple Bitcoin channel while Rajat was away on vacation for a month. So we had a slow start in terms of like the posting. We only got 20 videos on here in about a month, maybe 2 months. But anyways, we're back now. We're going to be doing one stream every week, every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. We're probably going to be posting a video pretty much every day, some new stuff, some clips from the shows that we think are very relevant. So that's kind of the goal, is to be doing one video a day. So if you're not over there yet, make sure you check out Maple Bitcoin. Turn on the notifications if you want to make sure you see all the new stuff that we post. Everything on there will be new. We're not recycling any stuff from our channel or anything like that. We kind of came to that agreement together. So this is all fresh stuff from us on the channel here. So this was the new video that we came out with. And you have to do a little bit of gambling with it. Whoa. And you can see earn Bitcoin without spending money. So we talked about 4 or 5 different ways where you can actually earn money or earn Bitcoin without spending money. I'll put this in the notes as well for you if you want to just click on that, if you want to keep the party going here. So it's about 17 minutes long, and we talked about ZBD, Ember, Snake, ShakePay, Fold, a bunch of different things. There's referral links there. I'm going to start coming out with some individual videos on each of these, just because each one of those comes with a few different things that you need to know about it. It goes a little bit beyond just clicking a link. But in the meantime, check that out, and it change your perspective a little bit in terms of like how opportune this time is in history in terms of still being able to earn Bitcoin for free. Dale says, yes, that was me. Best wishes to your mom. Thank you, Dale. I very much appreciate that. The last thing I'll say here is our 21 sats. So that's what we've called it now. We got the Bitcoin Citadel where we there's 4 or 5 of us in there. We're helping people with their self custody, with their private key, with their UTXOs, with all that kind of stuff, privacy, security, Bitcoin Citadel. But the 21 sats security and inheritance protocol, which uses SuperBacked, has been very busy, and we've had several signups this week. So I don't want to cause any sort of panic here. Obviously, that's not my intention. But if you're somebody who has a decent amount of Bitcoin and you want to sleep better at night, get it into this security setup that we have, and it plugs into an inheritance protocol so that if something were to happen to you unexpectedly, your family's going to know what to do with your Bitcoin, and we're going to be there to help them. And so the first part is that the price that we have for our lifetime membership is incredibly low, too low. And we're probably going to be bumping that up here in the next little while. So if you've been thinking about it, if you've been procrastinating on it, I would say sign up sooner than later. We're probably that was kind of our introduction price for the service, just to see what the demand was like for it. It's exceeded our expectations. And so we're probably going to be bumping up the price. It makes sense. It's a ton of value. I think that the lifetime membership, hey, there he is. Hi, buddy. The lifetime membership that we have is $2,100. Which includes a bunch of different stuff, the setup, annual, biannual checkups, until your life ends pretty much. And I think that the $2,100 to me, just having a guy like Craig on your team in terms of a security guy, a tech guy, probably top 1,000 Bitcoiners, maybe top 100 Bitcoiners in terms of knowledge level. So you have this guy on your team. He's looking after your security in Bitcoin. That's what you want. To me, that's worth $2,100 alone. Never mind the security aspect, the inheritance side of things. So that price will probably increase. I don't know if it'll be this year, but some point in the future that will increase to kind of get us at least up to par with the competitors. But the other part too is there's only 2 of us here. And so our time is limited. We can only take on so many clients for this protocol. We're probably going to expand. We're going to have new people helping us in the future. But if you're interested, just shoot me an email. If you want a little bit more information on that, we have some meetings coming up. I've had a ton of people reach out for more information on it, but just shoot an email there, joe@bitcoincitadel.net, and just put SuperBacked in the title there. If you want to, take some action on that. Basically what it allows, aside from like the inheritance side of things, where you can leave a document with your lawyer that doesn't give away, compromise any sort of information there, but it's a fully non-KYC way to secure your Bitcoin. And with inheritance too, you can plug in with your trusted advisors, your lawyer. You can set up a trust. That's kind of all part of the process there. But the real selling feature for me is that you can actually hold Bitcoin. You can maintain full ownership of that Bitcoin without having to trust anybody else. And you can do that in a fully non-KYC fashion. So you don't have to have any sort of trace of Bitcoin in your house. I mean, we spent the whole show talking about how valuable this is going to be in the future. And now is the time that you need to start worrying about this kind of stuff. So take some action today. Not only are you going to get the best price possible, you're going to get our time. You're going to get Craig and I for sure. And you're going to sleep a lot better at night. So you can hold full ownership without trusting anybody else, no KYC, and you don't have any sort of trace of Bitcoin in your house if you do it properly, which that's what we help you with. So if that sounds interesting to you, I would say if you have over half a Bitcoin, you should be taking immediate action towards something like that, either the SuperBacked with a single sig or a multi-sig setup. And we can help you with either one of those things. So that's kind of the threshold that I would say at this point. That'll obviously, as time goes on, that threshold will go down. But that's kind of like the immediate action here. If you're building up towards that, you don't want to spend any money, you want to buy Bitcoin instead, totally get that. But if you do have a substantial amount, now is the time to be taking action with this kind of stuff. So shoot an email, jor@bitcoincitadel.net, put SuperBacked in the subject line, and I'll send you some info, or we can set up a quick call with Craig and I to discuss and see if it makes sense for you. So I hope everybody has an amazing hump day today. Thank you for the zaps today. Thank you for being here. Big shout out to both Duncan and Craig for buying me a coffee this morning with zaps on the new site there. It's pretty cool. And big shout out to Letha too. She had the fattest zap of the day, 8,888 sats. And thank you to everybody. So have a great hump day. I hope you get a hump in today. And if you sent in a zap, your odds will increase. So you can send it right there. Arnie showed up, so he's looking for some zaps, I think, before he goes. So my phone's dead. I apologize if I missed anybody. And we'll be right back here first thing tomorrow morning. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.